Topic is science, reversible and irreversible changes. Now we'll talk about Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. The Prophet ﷺ said, if people knew about the reward for the Isha and Fajr prayer, they would come to the masjid even if they had to crawl. With this, the saying of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Hadith Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it gives a very clear message about the importance of namaz, salat. And in this way, the most important namaz is, or salat is, Isha and Fajr. This is the most important. Because in the Fajr, when the Muslim said, Hayya ala salat, as-salatu khayrun min an-nawm. So this is the voice coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if we go there, that would be a good reward for us. So we should pray from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us power and strength to perform 5-time prayers in the masjid. Ameen. Inshallah. So dear students, we have a topic today, reversible and irreversible changes. Now you can see that the eggs is going to be fried over there, and we'll talk about the reversible and irreversible changes, which things will be reversed, everything will not be reversed, or this is called as irreversible. So we'll talk about the objectives first. Our objectives, by the end of this lesson, we will be able to recognize the soluble material and insoluble material. It means which thing is going to be soluble and which thing does not dissolve in water or some other material. Recognize that some changes that occur when materials are mixed cannot easily be reversed. If they are mixed, it cannot be reversed. We cannot recover it. Recognize that heating or cooling materials can cause them to change. Recognize that materials can cause them to change, and recognize that when materials are burnt, new materials are formed. So we'll start from here. You can see the picture there, reversible and irreversible changes. You can see some of the pictures. The water is there, spoon is there, train is there, and there is some kind of a tin pack over there. So we have to find out which things are reversible and which things are irreversible. Common example that if you are going to dissolve salt into water, so there will be no visible change in the water. Bubble of gas are produced when food salt is added to a water. The bubble of gas are carbon dioxide gas. So we'll talk about some useful words about that. Reversible changes, a change that can go forward or backward. For example, melting and freezing. That's a very good example, melting and freezing. If we are going to melt the ice and we are going to freeze it, so it will again gain this same shape. Irreversible, a change that cannot go back. For example, burning. If you are going to burn something, it is a piece of paper will burn, so it will not again come into the same shape. Soluble, a material that dissolves, and insoluble, a material that does not dissolve. Now we'll talk about the mixing material. Sand, salt, plaster of paper, flour, powder, paint, baking powder. Can we do some example? We can do some experiment at home with the permission of your elders, if they permit it to you. So you can take a sand and try to dissolve in water, salt, plaster of Paris, and then you have to note it down there, result. What did you observe? And it's very simple. If you did not find any other kind of powder, paint, and flour, everything will be available. But if it is not available, so it's okay. Whatever you have, you can do this experiment with the permission of your elders. So here we have format there, mixing materials for slide. You can say that sand, flour, salt, powdered paint, and plaster of Paris, baking powder. So we have to find out, are they soluble in water or they insoluble, and write down their observation. It is what kind of observation you have when you are going to dissolve flour into water. It will chalky and milky water will be there. Now we'll talk about how we are going to separate insoluble materials. We have a sand and water. Can we separate the sand and sand from water? Yes, we can do it very easily. We use a filter paper and funnel, and we can take out the sand, and then we can take out the water. The water will be passed through the filter paper, and the sand will be there. And salt and water, can we do this thing? Yes, we can do this thing. You have read about it. You are putting the salt into water, dissolve it, and then you are going to boil it. The water will be evaporated and recovered, and you will get the salt. How can we separate each? Describe how you would separate the sand from the water. Then describe how you would separate the salt from the water. Now we'll talk about rock salt. Is a mixture of small rock and salt. Is often used to road when it is icy to provide grip and melt the ice. Using your knowledge, dissolving, filtering, and evaporating separate a simple rock salt. So you are left while with a pile of rock and pile of the salt. You will find the following apparatus useful: funnel, filter paper, beaker, Bunsen burner, or water. But I'm not going to tell you to do this experiment at home. You must not do this thing. But I'm going to tell you what would the result. Salt dissolved in water. So dissolved substance will pass through the filter paper, and dissolved solids are left behind when water evaporates. So this is the experiment we did in the lab as well. Now we talk about the irreversible changes. Cement, if you are going to dissolve powder of cement into water, so it will make a special kind of material, and it will become solid. So you cannot take it back into a powder form. Vinegar and bicarbonate of soda, you are mixing them, so you cannot take it back. That is called irreversible. So describe what happens in each of the examples. Do you think these can be reversed? They are difficult to reverse as new products have been made. And when we have irreversible changes, so most of the thing when we are going to make some changes, so new thing will form. It can be changed, but it is very hard to change it back. It's not very easy, simple. We are going to separate sand and water. It is not as simple as we are going to separate the sand and water. Okay, now we have a heating material. If you are going to heat the materials, if you are going to this first picture of you are going to fry the egg. So it is very hard if it is you are going to prepare for your breakfast. You cannot bake it in the original form in a shell. The same way, there is one more bowl is there having some flour is there, which is going to be prepared making roti as these things, so it cannot be back into a simple flour and chocolate. So these are the heating some material cause them to change. Do you think they can be easily reversed? Now we talk about the cooling materials. Now you can see there is a bread is there, and we are going to boil. Cooling some material causes them to change. Will the egg and the bread change when they cool? And what happened to the water as it is cooled? What happens to the steam as it is cooled? Can the changes be easily reversed? No, the changes cannot be easily reversed. Burning materials. If you are going to burn a piece of paper, so we will get you can say that a simple ash or black pieces of paper which is very much burned. And you can see another picture having ash in his hand, a man. So it is not only the ash over there. When we are going to burn a piece of wood, so definitely the gas comes out from there, heat energy will come out from there. So we can say that these things was there in the wood. So it is not, ash will not turn into a piece of wood again. So these are the irreversible because burning takes place. So new material will form. So you can say that this cannot be back. So it is irreversible. A material is burned, the change is irreversible. New material are produced when material are burned. These are often hazardous, produce a posture warning people of the danger of the fumes given off by the burning material in the home. We should be very much careful when there is a match box in the kitchen. We should not touch it because it is harmful, and we should not use some kind of aerosol and other kind of perfumes near the fire because it catches the fire, and especially the petroleum. These are the thing which catches the fire easily and could be harmful for anyone. Now, in this, we'll talk about the summary, reversible and irreversible changes. I'm going to start from the changing material. So, mixing, it will change, heating, cooling, and burning takes place. And irreversible and reversible in burning, irreversible, new material formed, gas often given off. Now, I'll talk about the reversible things. Easily reversed, filtering, evaporating, heating, cooling. So these are the reversible things. And irreversible cannot remove, new materials formed and involve the reaction. So this is a complete summary of our topic, reversible and irreversible. So for this today, thank you very much. And inshallah ta'ala will meet you with another new video lecture. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.